Hello there. My name is Joe Barsanti, and I'm a musical theater composer, and I have a new children's musical opening up in February of 2027. Only thing is, it is not written yet. So I decided to create this little video series to keep myself accountable and to, bring you all along in the process of creating a new show. And along the way, I hope to share some of the tips and tricks that I've learned in the past 7 years of studying this craft. So, without further ado, welcome to my writing journal. So before we get into the commission and the other interesting parts about writing a new show, I wanted to introduce my collaborators to you. Musical theater is not something that is written in a vacuum, and I'm not really the kind of person who can do everything or is really interested in doing everything. So I like to have a team around me who is skilled in their own crafts that I can bounce ideas off of and, work through this process because it can be a little messy. So having people around you that are helping you and working towards the same goal is super helpful. First, there's me. I'm Joe, and I'm writing the music. So that means all of the songs and the underscoring and all of the orchestrating in this case and the notating of the music is all my responsibility. It wouldn't be a musical without songs, and it wouldn't be songs without lyrics. So our lyricist for this show is Julissa Mishay. Julissa is responsible for creating all of the lyrics for the songs so that the characters, have a chance to express their inner feelings and talk about their inner thoughts in a poetic and musical way. And finally, but in my opinion, most importantly, we have the book of the musical, and the book is being written by the wonderful Brandi Underwood. The book writer is really the unsung hero of the musical theater writing world. Not only are they responsible for writing all of the dialogue and the words that the characters say on stage, but they are also responsible for creating the characters, honing the plot, and making sure that the story is told in a cohesive and logical way so that the audience can understand it and process it as they're watching it. Even though we each have our own specialty in the group, we are constantly collaborating and communicating to make sure that this piece can be as good as possible and that it's something that we are all proud of. But there is one more collaborator that I need to introduce you to, and that is Yes and Collaborative Arts. I'm going to read this straight from my script. Yes and is a youth-centered organization dedicated to amplifying voices, nurturing agency, and creating community through performing arts experiences. They're a Philadelphia-based youth theater nonprofit. They do summer and winter classes, studio classes. They have a high school group that writes and devises their own show. They're really a wonderful group. Our show is part of their winter sort of thing, which is their not winter summer camp, but their winter theater camp that they run. Our book writer, Brandi, started working with Yes and about 3 years ago while she was in grad school as a teaching artist doing summer camps there. And, we kept up that relationship, and thanks to her, that's how we were able to get the commission. We, ingratiated ourselves with Yes and we met with the people there. They liked us, we liked them. And, that's kind of half the battle in this industry is being nice to people and they're nice to you back. And sometimes you get a commission out of it. Not every time, but sometimes you get a commission out of it. So every commission is different. Some organizations have very strict rules for you and things they want you to do. Others kind of give you free rein to do whatever you want. Yes and gave us a lot of free rein, is giving us a lot of free rein, but there are some very particular things that were involved and need to be involved in the show that we are creating. And Yes and is all about kids and teaching them about creativity. So a big part of this was actually taking the ideas from the kids and making them the big part of the show. So Brandi, Julissa, and I have taught 2 classes now with Yes and. We did a course, I think it was last winter, which was a studio class, which was our first teaching kids about musical theater writing course. And then we did a 2-week-long summer camp with the kids as well, which was more of the same, teaching musical theater writing, the basics of that and storytelling and how music and that stuff interact, while also getting ideas from them. So we had multiple days of idea generating, talking about how to generate ideas, what ideas go together with other ideas. And then we actually culminated that 2 weeks with a opening number for the theoretical show. We may not use that opening number. Maybe we'll talk about that opening number a different time. But so the big thing was kids' ideas. So we took all of those ideas that the kids have and we put them together in a huge Word document. And as you can imagine, there were lots of ideas and details that they gave us. And here are the ideas the kids had. So for the story, they wanted it to take place in an airport. We wanted it to focus on a kid and a dog, the plot being the dog gets lost in the airport and the kid has to go find the dog. As for characters, we talked about a lot of ideas, who would be at an airport, who are the people that we'd expect to see there. And something I realized, lots of people are at an airport, so we can really have anybody. So some of the characters we had are TSA agent, a chef who will play an interesting part in the story, an animal catcher, a la old Disney movies. When I was a kid, any movie with an animal, the villain was the animal catcher. So kind of playing off of that trope, thinking about that, I'm excited. Musicians / a band. We think that's going to play some part. They're going to, the band is going to help out the main character, try to find the dog, and a bunch of other animals, which I'm sure we will get into because that's very fun. Now, I will say this is just some of the stuff we have. There are lots more characters I haven't mentioned. There are story beats that the kids had as well, but this is kind of a good quick summation of what the kids are expecting of us and, what ideas they gave us. I also mentioned that the commissioner usually has some parameters or expectations that they want you to follow. And Yes And did give us a few things they wanted us to include. And here are some of those things. So what Yes And requested from us. Cast of 25 to 30 speaking. So this is a kids show. Kids shows have big casts. And kind of going down with the third point, lots of solos. So lots of opportunities for kids who maybe if there are kids who don't want to sing a lot, then lots of speaking parts. If there are kids who really want to sing, that there's lots of solo opportunities. So, it's one of those things you need to think about in writing a kids show is big casts and lots of opportunities for everyone to be involved. Runtime of 60 minutes, which is a little longer than traditional kids shows, but Yes And isn't just like littles. It's not just like it's middle school, high school. There's younger kids as well. So that was a conversation of, we don't want to do just the traditional 45 minutes for a kid's show. We want to give a little more meat. And they have a longer rehearsal time. So the 60 minutes made sense. Clear villain or something to overcome. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. There needs to be a very clear thing that the hero or heroes need to overcome. And this is one of my favorite things that's very common in all the Yes And shows that the kids help create. Kids save the day. We don't want the adults stepping in to do the saving. The kids are the ones doing the saving. So looking at our story beat, that probably means our kid is going to be the one to ultimately find the dog. These other people will probably help him, but it's going to be ultimately his choice and his, goal and his thing that he does to save that dog and to find his dog who is lost in the airport. Workshopping with the kids. I think I previously mentioned that, but yeah, we'll be doing workshoppings and reading with the kids, talking to them also about what a workshop is, how to give constructive feedback to us, what kind of feedback we're looking for. So that'll be a fun process that I hope to document a bit of along the way. And finally, a little weird. Everything Yes And does is a little weird, but luckily I think the kids have already supplied a little weird for us. So I think we're well on track to be a little weird. And this is our starting point. So if you're thinking, God, that sounds like a daunting task, you would be correct. It is a big task, and we don't have a lot of time to do it. We've got lots of songs to write, lots of scenes to write, workshops to run, readings to do, to make sure that this is as good as possible. And that kind of brings me back to here, why I'm doing this. I've been thinking about doing videos on the YouTubes for a while, but have constantly had reasons to not do it, because there's plenty of reasons to not do this. But I decided that bringing other people along would keep me accountable. Because you know what? This is a lot of work. And I need to do these videos bi-weekly, maybe, just to keep on track and to make sure that it's not just me writing for my writing partners, but I'm writing because I have to update you, even if nobody watches. But, and that brings me to the fun part. If you do enjoy this, like it, subscribe to it. I don't know. You know, I'm interested in doing other topics around musical theater writing and musical theater teaching because, you know, I've had the opportunity to learn from a lot of amazing writers and be mentored by a lot of amazing people. So I think this is a great chance for me to share a little bit of how I do it. I don't claim that it's the perfect way to do it. I don't claim to be the greatest expert on all this, but I've learned a lot of this through trial and error, and I hope that I can share a little tidbits of what I know. There's a real vulnerability with doing this, you know, especially with a new work that isn't written yet. You know, I know this show will get made because I'm confident that we are going to do it, but as of right now, it's not. It does not exist. It exists in the ether that we are trying to pull strings and stars out of the sky to try to make something. So if you want to come along in that process of watching people make something that doesn't exist yet, feel free to do the subscribing and the liking and yeah, follow along and see what happens, because I guarantee you by the end of this, something will happen, and I think it'll be pretty cool.